taking a walk, guys, in remembrance of my Uncle Boy. He passed away last week. He loved to walk. You know, when I was young, and I started reading at primary school. I saw a book at my Oma's house, Mama Nelly. I read the book said Esau Addinall. When we went home, I asked my dad, Daddy, is Esau Addinall? So my dad explained to me it's Uncle Boy. And all these years I thought his name was Uncle Boy. But my dad explained, no, that's his name. And so he went to school. Uncle Boy wasn't normal like us. He had a knock on the head. They said he was in an accident. So he had some trauma to the brain. So he wasn't normal. He got disability from government. Sasa card. And yeah, I always tell my cousins, my brothers, I see Boy as Uncle Boy. You must show some respect, you see. That's why I'm walking today. The irony is, they called us last week. They told us Uncle Boy was lying. He was lying in the streets of Holtroad, Elsie's River. He got knocked over by a taxi. The driver tried to run away. And they caught him, locked up. They took the taxi. That's the irony for me. The boy never got in a taxi, but he got hit by a taxi. Uncle Boy walked from Elsie's to Parow, from Parow to Goodwood, from Goodwood to Ruitenburg, from Ruitenburg back to Elsie's, from Elsie's he walked to Ravensmead. That's where his church was, Pastor Francis' church. He would always end up back at church, whether he was drunk or not. The boy went back to church. That's how Mama Nelly Lignot raised him in church. Elsie died many years ago. And ever since, het Uncle Boy gesweer van huis tot huis. Uncle Boy het gekom met baie problems. Loved to drink. He was a beggar, you see. That's why he was walking on the streets. Everywhere he would ask people for money. I would ask him a couple of times, Uncle Boy, hoekom stap Uncle Boy so? Why are you always begging? It's embarrassing. He would always get emotional and tell me, ek sal nie verstaan nie. Well, Uncle Boy came with a lot of baggage. Yeah, we couldn't tolerate him in the conversation because hy praat aan mekaar. But I think for me, he was an embarrassment. When he would come to the parties and he would ask for money, I would give him money just so he can leave. And that is the elephant in the room for our family. That he was the embarrassment. We never wanted him. The nice thing with Uncle Boy was he came with a SASSA card. Yes. Government geld word elke maand optyd betaal. That card, this ID, ended up in many hands over the years. Smokkeliate, moneylenders, family members. Die kaart massacres. We don't care about Uncle Boy, no. We care about money. Just like Uncle Boy cared about money. He just wanted money. He walked for money. I think he also walked just to get away from his circumstances. He always ended up at church. That is the silver lining for me in this story. I want to say thank you to Pastor Francis from Ravensmead church, and that they always took care of him. You know, he wasn't an easy person to live with. Wasn't an easy person to deal with. You know, the problem in society is not a problem of the ones and the haves and the ones and the zeros. No, it's about us, and it's about how we treat one another. And it's also about the taxi industry, if you can make an example. The taxi industry is a multi-million rand industry. Yes. Government allowed taxis to operate despite buses and trains committing suicide. They set themselves alight. They closed the church, not the taxi industry. No, why? The taxi industry is a lucrative industry. Billions are made through permits, as tax, as Oh, even the spray painters, they make money. Don't forget about fines, traffic fines. Oh, taxi industry, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. China, Japan got a plant here in South Africa. Sasfikile massacres. The government, the ANC government, they embrace the taxi industry because that's probably, if you look into the economy, the only thing that they could build up, and they can't shut it down. I don't expect them to shut it down. The taxi industry for me represent. I remember I was a depot manager, one of the biggest, largest FMGC companies in the world. So I know something about transport. It's an American system, guys. The rich versus the poor, the slaves versus the masters. That's what transport means. Now you think transport here in South Africa, go check transport in the water system. It's a multi-trillion dollar system. They're fighting over ports, sea and control. Now, Ankil Boy got hit by a taxi because drivers are under pressure. They are rushing to make up their master's money for the day. And then after that, it's theirs. That's why they're chasing. It's a rat race. And you can look into any industry, anything in South Africa, all over the world. It's the same thing. So, we're chasing after money, guys. Greed. Ankil Boy walked everywhere for money. He wanted to get away from his sorrows, and when he get the money, he would drink. Drink the pain away. Yeah, Ankil Boy wasn't welcome anywhere. No one could deal with him. They all complained. Aunties, uncles, his brothers, his sisters, niffies, nuggies, ons almal. We all failed Ankil Boy. I failed Ankil Boy. I took him to Bloemfontein with me once. You know, when I took him, my wife and the children, they stay in Cape Town for the holidays. I couldn't get leave. When I took him with me, he was dirty. And I told him to take a shower. When he was done, he asked me for Andy. He washed the shower. That's how dirty Ankil Boy was that day, or that night. I started appreciating a warm shower and a fresh towel. That's what Ankil Boy taught me. Hy het gesweer van huis tot huis. Everywhere he went, they abused him. Everywhere. Even the police, they robbed him and Uncle Trevor one night. They were drunk. They robbed them. They took their money. I think they took Uncle Trevor's cell phone. The police. They were at the mercy of the police. The police robbed them instead of giving them a lift home. So people like Ankil Boy, I think, you know, government, there's so many social workers in this country, yet there's no vacancies. Why do they switch it off? Don't they want to help people like Ankil Boy? Don't they want to help society? Now we can't sift to government if we have the same heart, you see. I want to say, rest in peace, Ankil Boy. When I saw you lie there on the ground, you had new boots on. You had a spray in your pocket, your ID. Your face didn't look like your face. That taxi hit you so hard, you looked like a different person. Ankil Boy, you want to say, wherever you are, I am sorry for failing you. Ankil Boy, you are not a menace to us anymore. There is a last for us, uncle. That's the elephant in the room in our family, my goodness. Ankil Boy was a last. Ankil Boy is a last for us. You know, I get quite emotional. So many people died this year. And even last year with this virus. And every time someone died, especially close, You get so emotional, you want to cry, you know. I came to the realization, it's not about that person. It's actually about you. You crying for whatever reason. And yeah, I'll say rest in peace, Ankil Boy. I'm walking this mile for you. Feel your pain. I made it. I'm home, guys. Wat ek geleer het is, you woke up, you must walk back. It's fair. I'm home. I'm home, Ankil Boy. Home sweet home for you too. I'm home. You are home. With your mom and dad.